Great.
No, I'm agree. Okay, good evening, everyone. And welcome to the September 14, 2020 third meeting of the Health and Human Services Committee. My name is LV Barroso, and I'm the chair of the committee. Tonight, we are joined by our Assistant District Manager, Brendan Burke. This meeting is called to order at
6:36.
6:36. As a reminder, New York State law now requires all community board members who are not able to attend the meeting in person to have their cameras on and first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the time the meeting is adjourned. Additionally, please remember that committee members attending virtually cannot count towards quorum. Members of the public who are attending virtually, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. Members of the public who are here in person can raise any questions that you have by raising your hand. If there is time following the committee's discussion, you will field questions from the public. Jason Promowitz will take minutes tonight. Thank you.
No problem.
We will now take attendance by roll call. Brendan will conduct the roll call.
Committee members, I will call your names and you will speak. When your name is called, please say present. I will announce that there is quorum. Marty Barrett is not here. Elvie Barroso,
Second.
Jason Promowitz.
Present.
I don't see Sandra either. Raj Nayar,
Present.
Kevin O'Keefe,
Present.
Mariam Rao,
Second.
and Jerry Weinstein. We have Sandra,
Oh,
And me,
so we have more than quorum.
don't think that was easy, okay.
We were one short of perfect attendance.
You could have timed that like 3 seconds.
And the elevator door wouldn't close until,
I also got the floor.
and I had to come over here to get my picture taken. I knew.
the agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office, and it's reflected on the screen before you. Now, I would like to amend the agenda to discuss the preparation and assignments for the CB6 health data. We're not meeting next month, so we don't have time to talk about the preparation and assignment, so I would like that to be the first one. If we have time, we will discuss the first in the agenda, the response to poor air quality event. If we don't have time, we can table that for the next month. Our next meeting is in November. We're not meeting next month because we have the community board health fair. And we're not meeting in December.
I also wanted to raise the issue about that neighbor to neighbor. A couple of people asked me about it, it's moved along, so can we put that in somewhere as well?
We can put that in the November,
Okay, in the new, in what?
in the November agenda.
I know, I'd like to bring it up in this meeting.
It could turn into older new business.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
if
discuss
you
this.
can, after we.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that would be, that's pretty late, November. Thank you.
Okay, so no objection to discussing the second. The minutes from the June 8th meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there's no objection, we will adopt the minutes as drafted. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the minutes, please raise your hand. Seeing no objections, the minutes from the June 8th meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB6 website. Now, in order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. Committee members who are here in person, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and I will identify you so you can speak. committee members unable to attend in person. If you have a question about committee business, you may raise your hand through Zoom, and I will identify you as you can speak. All committee members, it is extremely important that only one person speak at a time, so that members of the public watching at home can understand what is being said by each committee member. The chat function for committee members present by Zoom should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on a record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. Okay, so tonight's agenda is to discuss about the preparation on the health fair. So I just would like everyone to know that the goal of the health fair is to support the health and wellness of residents of Community Board 7 by increasing knowledge about health services and resources available in the community. And our objectives is to provide health education information and health services available in the community. So now we would like everyone, everyone's suggestion on what the theme should we put.
First, can we establish the venue, and so we know what type of a footprint? we're working with?
I thought that was already. All right, so the date, everything has been finalized. We've been talking about this. The date is October 14th. The time is from 1 to 7 p.m. and the location is at NYU Langone at 550 First Avenue. It's just beside the Alumni Hall B.
You have some flyers.
Oh.
Flyers,
Yeah, so
thank you so much for Jason. He's the one that developed those flyers.
Good job, Jason.
Oh, that's like great.
So I would like us to have a theme. So. So we can develop a big poster with our theme. So what should be our theme? Any suggestions?
What have been themes in the past, just so I have an idea?
The last time we had health fair, Elitix Health Fair was 5 years ago.
it was a senior resource fair as well, so
It
it
was-
was, targeted towards a specific.
It was targeted towards seniors.
Okay,
So it's not like these, wherein this is a big one, wherein we are expecting anybody in the community, from the young to the adult.
okay,
You might be expecting also Ukrainians that are living in our community. Because it was distributed to Ukrainians.
Is this specific, oh, I'm sorry, go on.
you first speak.
Okay, well, no,
Sandra,
is this specifically, is it, interventions? Did you get a health screening? Did you get vaccinations, or is it lectures about?
no, you're
So
gonna
what-
get all of these. There's gonna be screening in there. There's gonna be TB screening, HIV screening. We have
There'll
20
be
tables.
vaccinations available? and so on?
Yes, flu. So we have 20 tables and I have already identified and confirmed 6. So, but before we go into that, I have a list of what we need to do. So suggestion for the theme.
I'll spin. Given when it is and the fact that boosters were just approved, I think something like a get covered, which you can include things like get boosted and so forth. And my broad message would be to wordsmith something ultimately around being an active partner in your own health.
I think that
So.
to be the, what about you?
Let's see, so yeah, since it's all encompassing, because it's education as well as actual services. right? Probably want to highlight that in the theme as well, so while it is about piggybacking off of what you mentioned, about taking, control of your own health. We can say, something to the effect of, through education and the various resources within our community district or something to that effect, tie it all into the fact that it is within the district so that people don't think it's just necessarily, you have to go all around the city just to find it. But we could try to let's see if we can narrow it down.
Yeah,
Can we
because
get
for a theme, we only need probably 5 to 6 words. It's gonna be big, that's the theme. And first of all, I would like to ask Jason, are you willing to develop a poster?
Yeah,
No?
that's fine.
So would you like a banner that we're gonna?
Yes, I would like to develop something like that, a big poster with a theme. What is our theme for that CB6 healthcare?
And can I say another thing? How did you do the advertising for it in the past? How do people get to know about it?
That's under marketing. We need to discuss. Let's go one by one.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't want to miss everything that I have on the list. That's why I want to talk about it, because we have a lot. And how many members are we? Very few. And the assignment. A lot. I need everyone to help.
Kevin's hand is.
Kevin.
Thank you. I think the commonality here is personal health. We're not here to talk about the pandemic, which is for everybody. It's really about us. Personal health is how I see it. But I'll be contrarian and suggest that we don't necessarily need to have a theme, since it's only been 5 years. Health fair pretty much says it all. I don't know if we really need to go and put a theme on it just because you want to put a theme on it. But having said that, personal health for me is
It's always good
Something
to
in that
have
area.
a theme on any event like this,
Mm.
especially in the community. We want it because the theme will attract them. What are they? What are we here for? You have a theme in there. It's always, it's always good to have a theme,
Well,
you know.
the other thing I would add is free.
Mm.
The population that you really want to help is not the population that
That's a
is
good
insured and overinsured. And so they need to see this work.
But you said all of these are free?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like free education and services or
Well,
something. So that-
the one that you
Sorry,
said,
didn't mean to cut off.
oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
But something to that effect. Like a free should be the word, right? And we kind of promote. I like that. Apologies for cutting it off.
Oh, I second Kevin's position. I feel like health is a theme. I'm not quite sure what having other messaging on top of it would add in terms of
Yeah.
value.
Former comps person, so just saying we could get covered, CB6 health fair or something.
Yeah, I don't think we're suggesting there can't be subtitles here. But as far as the name of the event, because I think that's really what we're talking about. You know exactly what you're getting if you say health fair. Free health fair,
You
And I
do
agree
want
with
the
that.
free, but free sounds redundant. I'm sorry.
complimentary health fair, but you
Well,
know what? It's,
but you want
it
the-
doesn't have to be in the title. That's the thing. It doesn't have to be in
Yeah.
the title. It can be health fair. The word free just has to be thrown in there somewhere where the eye's gonna catch it.
Or complimentary.
Well, but provided by health resources provided by, I don't know, whoever is providing. Who's providing it, the community or the NYU?
No, all of these are coming
communities.
from different vendors.
Oh, so
This
it's like
one's a
somebody
title.
gives
It's
you,
presenting.
somebody's doing these health screenings for free. Yeah. That's pretty neat. Okay. So, okay.
Do you want just to say, CB6 health fair in a poster? You said something
How about
about-
community, something like
We just
community
need
health
to
fair?
narrow.
Yeah, no, I do think that that's sufficient, because it does speak for itself. And if we are promoting the fact that it's within community one six. Yeah, below it, we can mention something to the effect about being complimentary, whatever we want to use the terminology to just soften the fact, or just to express to the community it is free.
So do you want this to be the poster and we can just add free? All of these?
You said complimentary services and evaluation provided by vendors.
Yeah.
Free.
No,
Huh?
affluent people want complimentary.
Yeah, no,
Working
they
class.
don't wanna.
Yes, I would go with that. You gotta think of the demos here.
Yeah,
People like you said that want to
Should be
get free
free.
coverage. There's nothing wrong with free if
free brings in.
it's not in
Yeah,
flashing me
so-
on.
So. All right, so everyone agrees that we can just add free in here?
Yeah, just put it
Free,
across.
free services,
Wants to be the- he wants to be the graphic designer, just put it across. Free.
Oh,
yeah.
sure, that sounds like a.
Will we
So
have a,
learn about free, look, you can just
Don't bury
add
it.
here, free health and wellness resources.
I'd strip it over on across the
Jerry,
top.
you wanna say something, Jerry?
I'm wondering if we have, you said you have a commitment to more talk and marketing, but I'm even wondering, of the vendors that you have, maybe I'm jumping ahead, but I'm wondering, are you gonna, is CSFNY and their navigators part of the vendors? CSSNY, they're nonprofit and for the state, they donate time and help people find out which is the best healthcare plan for them, including when they're eligible. So I don't know if
We're
that's-
gonna have health insurance enrollment. When we go to the vendors, I have to tell you that we have, because we only have 20 tables. You have to be strict with who are the vendors. that's gonna be included. Okay,
I just have a question then on, are these insurance vendors for profit? Are they for profit health
no,
insurance?
no, we will health department.
Oh, dental health. What, okay, what would be the insurance? Who would you be enrolling with?
Those with no insurance.
No, I meant, you're saying this is free health insurance. So I was asking who oversees, who does that?
The health department.
Is it Metro Health
Is that
or?
Medicaid?
I'm not sure, but it's provided by the health department.
Is that Medicaid? Because I don't
I'm
know.
not sure. Okay, so let's move, okay, because we don't have that much time. All right, so Jason, you're gonna do this,
Yeah,
adding free.
yes,
Okay.
I'll,
All right,
Yeah,
so,
That's my napkin suggestion, if you want to
thank you.
bury the CB6, call it community health fair. I like that. It's my
okay,
suggestion.
good. All right, so,
I know what you said
Sharon?
earlier, Kevin. We should include the word COVID,
huh?
because the boosters and so forth, it's not on here.
I was actually, it came off, but I support adding it, yeah.
Well, they should do all those.
Well, instead of adding more,
Well, I suppose, are
Yeah.
boosters gonna be free? Cause they're not,
These are great.
Automatic?
Yeah.
that's an important question.
We'll also give people know when the boosters will come out.
They're coming out in about 10 days. They were just announced yesterday. It's another 2 weeks
Which one?
away. I had that
Okay.
conversation last week.
And do we
Are
know
you
what sort of
talking-
eligibility there will be?
Are you Jared, excuse me, are you talking about COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not gonna be free,
yeah, that's the problem.
okay?
So these are
That's why I took it up, because I specifically asked the health department if it's gonna be provided free, no. Okay, that's why I only put the flu, because that's the only one, and I'm only requesting 100 flu shots, first come, first served. Okay? All right, so let's move on, any other questions?
Yes, just. If there are any goodies that are being taken away, whether it's a Chosky bag or whatever, it'd be nice people if know, again, the demos, are they gonna be able to take something home, a bag of
Yeah.
goodies?
I'm gonna go into that. I have
Okay,
a
let's put that
I'm
on here.
sorry.
Wow.
All right, so next.
I have one more
Yeah.
question.
I'll give you this back.
Of course.
Thanks, thanks.
I'm still put a stuff on the health insurance that's free and the dental insurance. So from my point, from us sponsoring it, we really do need to know
What
what,
are free.
exactly. I want to know what the dental plan is and what the health insurance plan is. So we know, in fact,
I think the
That's right.
advice about enrollment will be free.
The enrollment
then
will
that
be
has to be
free, so
clear.
you can probably, Jason, separate the health insurance enrollment and the dental, because the dental is NYU dental. And they will be given free screening, but there's gonna be fee when it comes to developing something else.
So to be covered is not free. Right?
To be covered for
Dental-
something else.
No, to do dental coverage will not be free. You might, right? Is that, okay, so that really,
May not be, probably the assessment, the examination right there would be free, but if they need like 4 seats, they need, that has fee.
they need insurance, right? If they need dental insurance,
No, they don't need dental insurance, they can pay cash. They
Well,
have,
but-
but they have fee.
May I
but this is
suggest,
not free.
what if we only specify the things that are free
Yeah,
specifically? So,
that's
so we could say like, no cost health screenings, whatever, free health screenings, free vaccinations, and then we could leave free off of.
But not
anything
all
that-
vaccinations, free flu vaccine.
Free flu, sure, free flu shots, yep, yeah, no, it's a good idea.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Can we make it specific like dental screenings, right? Because that
If
really
that's-
is
Mhm.
ultimate, so instead of saying it's dental, like.
Yes, that's right. We can put here dental screening is free.
Since there are 2 columns, we could do one that's free and list the
Yep.
things that are free and then other services in the second.
There's plenty of room to play with too, like
Well,
the text, some of the stuff.
It's too much, it's too crowded already. I think dental screening is free. You can put that in one bullet, and another bullet is health insurance enrollment.
but if we're,
And food.
I guess, having gone through everything gone through the city, anything suggesting something is free in health insurance and it's not, we should not be doing, we should not list
This
it.
is just
They just-
enrollment.
But it ain't free in the end. I mean, that's the point that the person needs to understand. They're not enrolling in something that's free health insurance. That's very important from my point of view. I don't want anybody having the illusion.
The education is free.
Fine, health insurance education would be great. And put it like that.
Insurance consultation.
No, you're not
enrollment
getting that.
Consultation.
You're just getting information.
I think that's already
Yeah, yeah,
covered
yeah.
under health and wellness resources.
That's
And like,
So
then it
they
doesn't
would
even need
take-
to be
yeah.
listed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right to me, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we'll take that line out altogether, I think it makes sense.
Okay. That's better.
And I agree, just saying flu shot vaccinations instead of if that's the only
Exactly, yeah,
vaccination,
you gotta
It's
do
free,
that.
yeah.
then you don't even need including.
Yep.
That's right.
There's more than one.
And should we put swag bags?
Giveaway.
Yeah, yeah, okay, so,
Giveaways I love.
all right, so decoration.
You don't know what you're
Also
gonna get.
free.
Yes, well, giveaways, by definition, isn't it? Free, right? I'm gonna give it away for a price.
All right, so I'm sorry, I have to limit our discussion because I want to finish in an hour and there's a lot to cover. Decorations, Brendan, are we gonna, can give us money for decorations or no?
Like decorations for,
We don't need decorations?
I'm a little bit confused, decorations for like the room or? That I would need to ask Jesus about.
Okay, all right, so that's question. All right, now marketing.
Actually, just to interject, so asking for money for decorations or what sort of decorations are you thinking?
Do we
of?
need decorations?
Well, do you need like, obviously, you're talking about tablecloths and skirting and.
Yes,
or-
that's in the
that's-
materials. We need
that's
to
already-
buy tablecloth.
Yeah, I mean, we do have like a banner that we bring,
Banner, yeah, okay,
that we bring to
yeah.
things like
We need a
National Night
banner.
Out.
Vendors tend to bring their own tablecloths to.
Yeah, for their panels.
Yeah, usually they have their own, but I would like to have table numbers.
Mm.
So it looks clean and it looks organized.
Well, helpful.
Huh?
Tell somebody to go 5.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay, I have those in my material.
Will we have, since we have 20 tables, will we have like, almost like an index for people to see what tables are associated with what numbers, like number 1 is,
Yeah.
so that they can, sometimes they might want to go directly to, whatever their
To
issue
the-
is,
yeah.
concern, versus kind of traveling around.
It's not a big cost, but maybe just a cork board on an easel when you come in, so people can always go back and look where they.
Yeah, okay, we'll talk about that when we go to materials, but let's do marketing. Do we need anything else to, how to market our?
I have an overall question again too. Is it the health department that's getting the vendors? Who's getting the vendors for this? And who's the we?
Me, I got already, I have on my list 6 vendors that are confirmed. Okay, or if you have any suggestion, because we have 20 tables, let me know, because I'm keeping a list of the vendors, the contact person, the email and the phone number.
And
That
we
will
get
be
in
submitted
advance,
to the,
again, we get some advance,
yes,
so
I
we
will
have,
give you this. I will give you this.
Okay.
For now, I only have 6.
Can you
Alright.
share who they are?
yeah.
Yes,
have-
I will,
Oh,
I will.
And I just, where I'm coming
All
from,
right, so-
I'm always concerned about for-profit versus not-for-profit. So I need to know in advance who I'm not-for-profit.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right, so marketing.
Just,
Yeah.
just a quick interjection, like if any of you like want to like flyer in your building, I know we're changing the flyer from the sound of things, but if any of you want to flyer in your buildings, you know, just let us know in advance of coming to a committee meeting or something, and we can make sure we have
Distribute.
X number of flyers, just let us know in advance.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I guess if we're meeting in the office for committee
Yeah.
meetings, we could like print at the office, we have a printer.
yeah,
Naive question because it's on you. Have we in the past, and I know not this, because that's 5 years ago, but has community board and other committees done any advertising on links kiosks in the community board?
Pre-pandemic, we definitely did that for committee meetings. I don't think we've done that since.
Because you're also hitting the right demo.
yeah,
Italy.
yeah, before the pandemic, we've been doing that.
But yeah, we used to do that.
can we do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the process is, but I can definitely look into.
It is free?
Yeah,
I do think
If
that-
you're-
Complimentary.
yeah.
I saw for housing the homeless,
Complimentary,
it was posted
complimented.
up on.
can't even say the word. It's a very long word that means the same. Yes, I believe it is if you're nonprofit.
Yeah, okay. I'll make note of that.
Okay, good. All right, so Jason, soon as possible, if you can make the changes. Okay, good.
Question. Have we reached out to all the various like associations like Murray Hill, Turtle Bay? Put them on their newsletters so they can send this stuff?
No, not yet. That's why I would like, when it comes to marketing, what else or how else can we advertise?
It's a great idea.
And have other community boards done this so we can use their expertise? It's never been done before.
It was done by Queens Community Board.
If we use community board 8, which is
8.
like Briarwood
Yeah.
and Rush Meadows, I think. You know, somewhere in there. Had a health fair last spring or summer, but, and it sounded like it was a success, but I don't remember what all it involved.
I've
We
got,
get their
They
newsletters.
do that every summer, because I've participated in one of them. And they didn't even have a venue, it was just on the street.
Hmm.
It was successful, because we have so many in that area that need the services. All right, so,
I know we're not into assignments yet, but I like that point. I'd be happy to play the role of contacting the neighborhood associations, the community associations, including the elected officials office. I'm going to send a note to one newsletter that's coming out tomorrow. Then I'll make sure they have a little story about this.
yeah, I sent this to Assemblyman, no, from, in Queens, Assemblyman. That starts with R.
Or who you're talking about.
One of the Assemblyman.
I have another question, because this is actually only a month away. And I understand you got the venue, which is great, but that's a lot to be done to get, because I realize you've got like 7, you need 13 more. That's not much time, right? To try and pull that together.
It's not, this is just coming from me, there are also coming from the board office. If we can add, that would be great. Give me the contact person, the phone number and the email. Okay? All right, so anybody that can help identify sponsor.
Didn't we discuss that it wasn't clear if we could have sponsors?
We're a government office.
So no sponsor.
So-
All right.
Yeah, it's not, it's not like an event on TV where like we need sponsorship to make ends meet.
Yeah, okay. So no sponsor.
Could we go back to marketing real quick?
Yeah, sure.
There's an audience that I'm thinking that could be particularly helpful, or use out of these services, or asylum seekers that are, at about several locations in our community now.
Yeah,
In particular, we probably want to look at translating this into Spanish if we want to reach them.
and French.
Yeah.
too,
Oh, yeah.
Spanish and French.
Yeah, so anyone within our neighborhood. Because we were also inviting Ukrainians that are in our neighborhood.
Does anybody happen to have the translation skills? I'm happy to put it in the flyer. I mean, I could use like Google Translate, but it's better to
I
have,
could do Google Translate, but it's.
not that great.
I wouldn't
Uh,
depend on that, yeah.
Yeah,
We could tap into the local schools that usually has that skill set somewhere there, and I think we should hit the schools too. It'd be a huge help in getting these message out to their network, both internally at the school and externally with newsletters and such.
I almost want to say like add safe. If we're like reaching out to more folks. Especially asylum seekers and migrants, because there's hesitation, especially going to a big hospital like that. Safe and free. Or I don't know, just something,
Yeah, I agree.
because it's a different
yeah.
population, you know?
I have one question, the nutrition demonstration, this is coming from.
I forget right off the top of my head, honestly. I would need to check.
Okay.
Doesn't the city provide translation services? I mean, it's a law.
Yeah, that's something I can also ask Jesus. I feel like there is something in terms of translation services.
Yeah.
And event flyers, but
Might
I
be
would,
easier.
I would,
Which don't.
I would need to ask.
Okay.
Okay, so let's now move to the giveaways and promotional materials.
Just to close the loop on the language part, so should it just be translated in like, I think there's 8 languages that the city's listed as priorities. So should it just be, like, should we pick the languages right now, since we're discussing everything right now?
Yeah, I mean, it would be helpful to select which languages you all want. I don't know. Like, I don't know whether, like, if we were to give such a request to the city, whether they would like, translate to all 8, or I think it's like 5 or 8 or 7,
Yeah.
somewhere in there,
Yeah,
somewhere in the mid to high single digits.
I'm not sure.
But, assuming they don't do that, it would definitely be helpful to clarify which languages. Spanish, definitely.
yeah,
Okay, Spanish and Ukrainian, no problems, I have 2 staff that speak Ukrainian.
and also French, there's a Senegalese population.
French.
It's pretty important.
Good to know. So Spanish, Ukrainian,
No,
French.
Ukrainian, you don't have to, I have 2 staff.
Okay, so Spanish and French.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I'm happy to make a flyer. If I can get the words, I'm happy to put the flyer together. in those.
Yeah, I'll ask about that.
All right, so the materials, I suggest having a name tag. Or
So to have a, what do you say again?
a
Tag?
name tag,
Name tag.
so who volunteers to do that? We're not gonna burden the office, it should come from him.
It doesn't
Anybody
need to be anything
volunteer?
more than just like,
Close.
hello, yeah. Yeah.
That's a good idea, yeah, all right, so. Do we have?
Sticker sheet,
Ida?
there you go, done.
And that's.
Put up on the way home.
Because we are the lead in this health fair, yeah.
I'm gonna have to say my point again, there's very little time.
Mhm.
And that really does bother me, if you're doing this as a kind of, and I like the idea of, leading the way. But then you really need the time to really put this together, and I kind of You know, we're, and that, so I have real concern, I'm gonna just state it, that pulling this together in a month is.
It's been set already, we've been talking about this, except that we could not find a location. Now that we have the location, so please, no more objections to this. We are pushing this.
And it was,
It's happening.
sure.
So I have only affirmations. for the- Shall we have like a 2-week check-in from this point, which is the
Yeah,
midpoint?
we'll
It's
do
really
that
just the logistics.
for us, yeah.
Because each of these, folks are self-powered and presumably these people, this is what they do. Present to the public.
What overlay does NYU Langone provide, whether it's as simple as opening up the doors in the morning to make sure it's, I mean, what are they providing service wise?
They're gonna be providing somebody that will guide our guest participants to the alumni, to the hall.
Meaning if they come into the main
Yeah,
entrance,
But we're gonna, yeah,
they'll have escorts or just point down the hall?
I'm not sure, but I'm gonna ask anybody among us who can be who can be there to set up. We have to be there. The time is at 1:00. We have to be there by 12:00. Now, I teach at Bellevue Hospital on Saturdays from 8:00 to 4:00. But I was able to get permission to leave at 12:00. Or probably 12:30. Because I have students. So I'm gonna ask everyone to help.
Okay,
It's gonna be in the setup. I have all of that.
so there's manual labor involved as well, and Langone is not there to provide any sort of lifting. I would imagine
They're gonna provide the table,
Okay.
but we need to provide the tablecloth. I already asked the contact person.
Okay,
to-
but setup, they'll take care of the setup.
The setup, the tables will be there.
And who insures it? Is it under NYU's insurance? And, how does that happen?
Or does the community board have general liability to cover things like?
I honestly forget.
I don't mean to
Yeah.
catch off guard, it's a serious question.
Yeah.
Okay.
I-
Good questions. Sandra, that is a good question. That is a good question that Kevin will ask Jesus. But right now, let's just
Okay, that
discuss
may mean. that
what I
right in the
need
event.
from members.
I'm happy to help.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm gonna put that in there, but I wanna put the names of
I
to
can help.
Jerry
Yeah, Miriam.
and Mariam. Thank you.
Jerry has this awesome webpage up from the
Alright.
city right now that lists everything that we can and
Yeah.
cannot do it.
Okay, so that's the materials.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It's
It's a list.
interesting that exists. Is our list comparable to that? Like, we can do here.
The
If
detail.
answering something like you're gonna ask.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, so the name tag, who volunteer? Oh, so you said that we can just, just say hello? All right, so what about table numbers?
If I'm understanding the table, I could do it. Am I just printing out 1 to 20?
Yeah.
And like card stop.
Now, do we know whether NYU Langone is or isn't providing that?
Yeah.
Do we know whether they're providing that to begin with?
I did not ask that from Rebecca. I can also ask that, and if they don't.
Yeah, because
we
I
can
feel,
wait.
I mean, granted, it was a different venue back in 2019, but I vaguely remember with the senior resource fair that I think Baruch might have provided table numbers, but it was over 4 years ago at this point.
I do not remember.
It was over 4 years ago. So my memory is fallible.
Okay, sign in sheet.
Are we asking the public to sign it?
We can ask the vendors to
Oh.
sign. So we're gonna have 2 sign in sheet. We need to count how many counts.
It's just gonna be 20, why do we need to sign it?
Yeah, what do we need?
So they can
sign-in
opt
sheet?
into the CB6 newsletter.
Do we need sign-in sheet or we just need to count?
Seriously though,
What about? What do you
why
think?
give up that opportunity to
Yeah.
capture email addresses for your CB6?
Yeah, so I feel like that's
That's
something.
true, that's what- Yeah.
I feel like that's something we would have at our table particularly.
Yeah.
You know, CB6, like one of the tables at the fair
Gotcha.
is for CB6. And I think like having the ability to sign up for the newsletter seems like low hanging fruit.
So I have a suggestion. Print out the most recent, because a lot of people, when we'll be all night out or whatever that was called, they're like, I don't need another thing. And I would persuade some by saying, actually, it's very concise and helpful. But having a copy there that people could glance on would save memories.
I'll think upon that. I also don't want to deceive anyone into thinking that we have a paper version of the newsletter, which we don't. So I'll.
I don't think anyone would count themselves being.
Put a disclaimer and say this is only for promotional.
Say, we have non-gone all digital.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
okay.
Won't CD6 have a list of all of the people who will have their tables anyhow? Didn't you have that in advance?
And then just check their name. off.
Yeah, yeah, I would assume
We
you
don't
don't
know
know,
who's coming.
you don't know who's coming. Okay.
No.
Oh, boy. Okay.
All right, let's move on. Evaluation form.
But, what, how do we don't know, well, we should know who's coming.
Of course we should.
Huh?
Don't we know who's coming? How do we not know who's
Yeah.
coming?
That's
We
a
don't know
serious.
who's gonna come.
You mean who
Maybe
hasn't,
the audience.
who hasn't
Who's
signed up
offended?
yet? Is that
Right.
Huh?
Yeah, we're speaking of the vendors.
in the, you're
Oh,
talking
the
about the ones that.
vendors, we know who's coming. I'm talking about the guests.
Oh, no, I was. talking
Oh,
about
so
the
you're
vendors.
suggesting the public should sign in, that
Oh,
they,
no.
that they're there to attend?
That violates their
RSVP
privacy.
for free.
No, but that's a privacy issue, right?
It's not a
If you're
HIPAA
getting-
issue. It's just, no, it's not. If you put out like
And then
Eventbrite
they
and
get-
ask for, to sign up in advance
Yeah,
for
if
2
you-
people, that's not a privacy issue.
If it's just the name, there's no privacy issue in there.
I like the
If
idea
we
that-
are asking
that
about
you're, volunteers.
detailed information, there's privacy.
Can't go wrong. It's flawless.
I don't know, I mean, I feel like to some extent, we might be discouraging people if we ask them to sign in,
Yeah.
All right, so,
especially people from different communities who may not be adjusting of.
all right, so
Well,
that.
You don't have to
question
sign up. We're not gonna send them away if they show up.
Still though, like, I
Question?
don't know, you see that there's a sign-in sheet, and you're like, yeah.
We're gonna make a sign-in sheet for the vendor. Because we need, in case next year, if we want to repeat this, if it's successful, we can easily get that. Sign-in sheet for guests, we can ask if it's necessary or not.
On success, I'm sorry, I didn't, what's our success metric? How will this be a success? After it's over, how do we determine?
We are looking at 200 participants, so we'll see how many come.
Okay, so that's our goal. 200.
All right, so evaluation form. We need to develop evaluation form at least to ask. How they
Feedback.
define the health fair, what other suggestions they have.
If people sign in and leave their email address, they could be sent in a survey, right, later? Instead of asking them to do that while they're there.
Brendan, how do we do the evaluation form?
Can you
We
repeat
can-
that? Sorry, I was taking notes on
I want
the
it to be like
previous.
text.
Yeah, I would like to have
Some
like a one sheet
Checkbox.
evaluation form for anybody that would like to
stuff.
accomplish the evaluation form, just to ask, how did they find the health fair, what suggestion,
So,
and they have what other services they want to be included in the future.
so what's the question? It's,
So Mariam's question is, can we do that online?
Like a Survey Monkey thing.
yeah, I mean, provided a link is,
Provided
Provided.
they
Leave it,
provide
yeah.
us the name and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they don't want to provide, we can just have a one sheet with 3 questions, ask them if they want to participate in it. It's simple.
I can do that. I've used smiley faces before for like people who speak different languages. So just thinking about like, we're gonna have to translate everything
Yeah.
that we print out though.
Yeah.
So that's,
Thank you.
yeah, but there's like, that's gonna be hard if we're giving them something. Like, we have to have this translated, so anything we print needs to be translated, so no one feels excluded, so we can't have like a health fair in
English.
Spanish.
Or-
Like a flyer, and then not provide an evaluation also in Spanish.
Actually, to that point, What type of, how will we be set up to service in person members who come in who are speaking or not English speakers, if at all?
I was gonna ask about
Yeah.
translators, yeah.
You mean in all the things?
Yeah,
Um,
general.
Sometimes the vendors can bring,
Well, how, I mean,
both.
how does Emily line go? Because to me, looking at all the variables, it would seem if they were generous, that maybe they could find somebody who does that in-house.
Or the
I
vendors.
imagine they have, yeah, but I imagine that Langone is right on site and that they have to do this. So maybe we could grab
They
somebody.
may have a template that they use or something like that. All right, so anyway,
Can't hurt to ask.
the other thing I'm thinking is, if we target specific vendors that work with specific communities, they're gonna bring those language skills with them.
True. But then but then they'd have to bring a couple of translators with them.
Yeah.
Interpreters.
Just to give one example, VIP is a domestic violence nonprofit that works specifically with the Latin population.
Okay.
They're gonna have the skills to speak to the people who come to that table for domestic violence services, just an
Right.
example.
just like the TV screening that we offer in the Department of Health. For Ukrainians, we have 2 staff that speak
Mm.
the language. And they do everything.
So are you still entertaining if I have suggestions for vendors? Is that?
Oh,
close?
yeah, no.
Okay.
I only have
So
6
this is
in
the-
my list, and they have, you also have, you have anything under this? Because Kyle said to me, submit the ones that are coming from us, because PD6 office may have also.
Yeah, well, I know Marty also had some, like I sent a list. Like, I know some of you were on the committee at the time, but I know I sent a list of organizations we at least invited to the 2019 fair.
2018.
Or it was 2019, I remember. 2018 was before I started here.
Oh, 2019, probably. All right, so in 20, whatever, that last, resource, we had about 35 vendors. But we're limited now because of the cable that's only available, I mean, only
Remember how many attendees? I'm just curious. For the last one, was it 200 or?
It was, I think about 75 to 100.
Okay.
I mean, I'll also add the caveat that for the 2019 fair, but I'm not ignoring you, I'm just seeing that there's something in the Q&A. Make them fill out the,
that time, Mariam, that was at Baruch,
yeah,
Oh, okay.
anyway,
and it was raining
yeah.
in the afternoon.
Was there any, did you wrangle walk-ups, have somebody out there? Because it seems like if 200 is the goal, a lot of those you can get through wrangling walk-ups, people that are traveling in group,
Yeah,
looking like they need something to do.
yeah, I don't think we had that in 2019, but once again, I'm speaking from memory. The other thing about 2019 was it was specifically a senior resource fair,
And it
so
was clean.
it was, and you know.
Yeah.
Something like 15, you know, while our district has one of the largest
Yes and no.
populations
What I'm saying is
of
sometimes
all
there's groups that
districts
walk
in the
by,
city,
like
like in the
7
top
people,
10 or
like, what are you
so,
doing?
it's still in the 15 to 20% range. So
That's what I
like
include.
it was an event targeted to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
particular
And that's what you make a
demographic
group
as
from the
opposed
hospital.
to the
I
entire.
think you're coming to
district.
visit your sick friend.
Okay, so, hello. What time? All right, so we have, okay, so I need the duct tape, just in case. Pencil and pen, pencil.
Yeah.
Okay, or markers. All right, so setup is gonna be Jerry and Mariam. In the registration table, that's CD6, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now ushers and greeters, who wanna volunteer?
I could do that.
Jason,
I can do that.
Jason and Raj. All right, so I want somebody to walk through. So anybody that needs help or who has some needs in the vendors or anything, I need volunteer for that. just walk you through all of the tables just to make sure you have any problem or anything.
do that.
I think we're all gonna, everybody's gonna play
that.
that role. Anybody who's there is not gonna be working, you know, the whole time. We're all gonna be playing that role.
Okay, so,
Right?
so all of us, that's why, all of us, okay, that's why I want us to have a name tag.
Yeah, the only
Okay.
people not playing that role would be whoever's at the table itself,
Yeah,
like at the table for CD6 itself.
all right, so the collecting and administering evaluation form is gonna be you, Maria. No,
Sure.
all right, thank you. Now, can I assign somebody to take pictures? Jared, thank you. And cleanup, can we all help in cleaning up? H and H member. All right. Thank you. All right, so did we miss anything else on the day of the health fair? We have set up Jerry and Mariam. I hope to be there as well. Registration table, CB6, ushers and greeters, Jason and Raj. Walkthrough to assess needs, all members of Health and Human Services. To administer and collect the evaluation form, it's gonna be Mariam. Take pictures, it's gonna be Jerry, and cleanup, it's gonna be members of Health and Human Services. Now,
Supplies, sorry. If you
Supply.
want to do an easel with with signage, for example, or if you need tape to put
Yeah.
poster on the wall, I think we should have a list of supplies that are
right,
needed.
that's why I put duct tape, pen, pencil, marker.
I can create the evaluation form. I'd rather not give it to people. Like, I thought I was just creating it. I think it's gonna be really hard to like walk around and help people and pay attention to like who's coming and going.
I think the best is if you can just sit on the CB6 table
Oh, okay.
and anybody that you can give the evaluation and collect it at the same time.
Can I pass on that?
I think we
I
can,
like to move. That's why, like.
yeah, and I think we're
like
gonna
to get
pick
around
up,
there.
it's not gonna be that many. We can pick up anecdotal,
Yeah, just.
responses to how it went. Believe me, we'll know if somebody's not happy.
Yeah, because not everyone will like to fill out that form.
Right, that's why.
Yeah, I think observation is we're gonna get the same pretty much data that we would if we were have them fill it out, which they wouldn't send back. It's
Yeah.
just human nature.
I think it'll be good to ask the vendors afterwards, like what went well for you? What can we do better? I think that,
Then we'll have their in-house.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, will the vendors have sign-in sheets for like?
Yeah, that's why I
So
wanna
that would be-
develop a sign
Yeah,
sheet for vendors.
will the vendors provide it to whoever they're seeing, like from the populace, like will they have a sheet so that, let's say an individual comes to ask them a question, they're like, we can send you more information, but if you give us your email address or whatever, so then the vendor will have that information and subsequently we can ask, well, how many did you see? Or whatever, and if they said we had 25, we know from a head count that,
Yeah.
something to that effect.
So, should CB6 develop that sign-in sheet for vendors or?
I feel like to some extent vendors oftentimes are responsible for their own stuff, their own banners, their own sign-ins, their own swag.
No, not the sign-in sheet for them. It's the sign-in sheet for us to know that these vendor came.
but we're gonna see them.
Yeah. No, so we
Alright.
don't need a sign-in sheet for them?
Oh, yeah, are you talking about a sign-in sheet for people who come to the tables?
No.
Or
Just be
No.
Just a
proactive as
general-
we're floating and check people off and yes, maybe keep one list.
Yeah, it's good to have
Yeah.
a list of
Yeah,
vendors.
it
that
would
came.
probably be good to have like some sort of checklist,
And I
because the other thing I'll add, and, you know, speaking from experience with the 2019 fair. We did have one or two vendors who just sort of tried to jump in at the last minute.
Yeah,
So if that sort of thing happens, like, things happen at the last minute, no matter how much you plan. Things happen at the last minute. And there were one or two vendors who like wanted to jump in at the last minute, and we had to figure out whether we
Where
could
to sit
accommodate
them.
them, and if so, how. So that's where, you know, some sort of basic sign-in would be helpful, so that way we have a sense of, like, if there is that, like, last minute vendor who comes in, whether we can fit them somehow, and if so, how.
No question. Logistically, are we gonna set aside, let's say, 1 or 2 tables in the event there might be someone who pops in? Like aside, so that we'll have a set number depending on all the vendors that we have. And then we have maybe 1 or 2 is in the event someone does. It's no loss if I guess no one does, because we're not being charged for these tables, so it's just gonna be an empty table then. But, just to anticipate the potential walk-in, since that's what happened at the senior.
Yeah, that might not be, it might not be a bad idea, but I also know that we're working with a limited number of tables to begin with.
They said 20
2019.
tables.
If we have no-shows,
No problem.
if we have any no-shows, we may be able to repurpose those.
Yeah, but I mean, also to some extent,
Yeah.
without meaning to sound tough, if someone like doesn't respond and then suddenly shows up.
Yeah, last
Like,
minute.
day of the fair without notifying us. like,
Yeah.
Then frankly, they're at the mercy
Yeah.
of what our availability is.
Yeah.
Right, the actual overhang of who constitutes a vendor or not. Is there terms in which you say, actually, no, what you've got there is not what we're doing? Well, how is that gonna work?
We have confirmed vendors, these, the one that I have on the list are confirmed.
Let me give you an example. But it may not fit in this. Somebody is an anti-abortion advocate and they want to set up a table.
No,
Okay,
if
and
they
they're
did-
not for profit.
If they did not confirm.
Then what
with-
happens?
If they did not confirm with us, we have the limited.
No, they confirm.
Yeah.
What's the right of refusal that one would have? And that's a CB issue, right? That's I don't know whose issue it is, but who certainly seems important. Right?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's very important, and I think that's where it's important for us to be clear in terms of what sorts of organizations we want at the fair, what sorts of messaging we want at the fair, with our only having 20 tables. We have to, we have to be, thoughtful in terms of who to have at those 20 tables.
Right, who's doing it though? Who's
and-
got the yay and nay on that? How's
Well,
that?
I think if it's something of that nature, if it's to
Yeah.
that level, I think that's a Manhattan Borough President Office question. They can be the
We'll say, okay.
decider
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that.
But right now, we're the ones extending the invite. right?
No, but I'm saying I think you said you don't know until, you're saying if they
No,
come to us in
I'm
enough
saying-
advance time, or you're still talking about somebody showing up at the last minute.
No, well, it was certainly part of that. They show up the last minute, but it's a larger issue of who's in and who's out. And who's setting the boundaries?
I
And
think,
then the next part is what happens if somebody shows up at the last minute? That will bring it actually.
I don't want to speak for Brendan, but I think that
Yeah.
CB6 has to get in touch with Mark Levine's office on something of that level.
Yeah, if it were something at that level, I mean, if it were truly last minute, if it were day of the fair.
I'm just
like,
wondering.
If there are no tables, then there are no tables.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
It-
we're the ones who are
Okay.
soliciting the vendors, correct?
Yeah,
So we
we're the
would
ones.
control that flow. It's not
Yeah,
We're
that's
not
what I'm
like putting
saying.
like an RFP out and say, hey, people come in.
But
Yeah.
people can still find out about it because they're gonna read it in all the newsletters around town. It's gonna-
Exactly, but we can also then, depending on, if we already have, let's say, between the board office and your list. And, Jerry, your list, if we have enough vendors, we might have to just turn people back and say, we only have 20 tables. That could be our out, especially if we have a contentious.
But who's the one who's, you want to find, right? And you do it on that level, but you gotta have some determining, how do you make,
Criteria.
who's doing the determination on this? So you're saying, well, we made the determination and we'll do it based on table, but I'm raising the larger issue of who's making that determination, right? And I can bring it up in various ways, but I'll just
Yeah.
took the most
Yeah.
obvious.
All right, we are the one organizing. So we have,
Or this committee is the one.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yes, but discretion of who, I think you're,
It's a really,
it's an
it's a
important-
loaded issue.
it's
a
an
really
important
loaded
question,
issue.
like who, are we talking about one individual that will be that gatekeeper? Or is it just sort of general CB6?
Well, I would want it back on CB6.
But who at CB6?
I don't know,
That's
but
what
this
I
is
think
no,
that's,
I'm gonna do that.
okay, so you're the gatekeeper.
I'm gonna do
You're gonna
that.
put the hammer down anybody that tries to come in.
Yeah, and ultimately, it's a health fair, if.
So
there's an
healthcare, I'm
organization-
the one, the lead, I'm the main organizer, I'm the one. Okay, the vendors. We have the TB screening,
What screening was that?
TV.
Oh, TB.
tuberculosis
Okay,
screening.
yeah.
We have flu shots, we have 100 flu shots that I requested, first come, first served. I'm gonna clarify about the health insurance enrollment, whether it's only enrolling them and or if it's free or not. I'm gonna clarify that. We're gonna have HIV testing for free. The NYC emergency management, this was by Marty. So that's already confirmed, and the NYU dentistry. So far I have 6.
And then
That's
keep in mind,
confirmed.
that NYU, does NYU having a table, is that listed, just general NYU Langone, because they being the hosts, I'm pretty sure. And then CB6 will also have its own table,
Yeah.
so,
No, this is just on the list that I need to provide to you.
yeah.
That's what Kyle asked me to do.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, as you're keeping track of the list, there are 20 tables total. 2 of them are us and NYU Langone, so
Yeah.
really it's 18. If you
Yeah.
think about it.
Okay, and Joan, you have also suggestions.
Yeah,
Vendors,
and
yeah?
of course, I don't want anything to be duplicative, but I'm gonna raise them. So Community Service of New York, Service Inter CSSNY, they do many things. With healthcare, they have a staff of navigators. So I don't know,
Patient.
again, whether that's competitive or not, but I know them. It was Benjamin who runs it and staff of people. The Fund for Public Health has interfacing. I don't know whether or not they could do a broadband public health thing.
Yeah, we also have
So-
from the Department of Health that does that,
Okay,
and it's coming.
okay. Benefit
Which I-
Kitchen has apps and chats where they help people discover if they're eligible for the ACA or SNAP. And it's, you don't need to register, so a lot of what they do around the country is with people who are undocumented or don't want to share their status. I could ask them if they'd like to come.
Yeah, because if we have Ukrainian.
Yeah, all.
Yeah.
Is that health? Though, I mean, it's tied.
APA is health, and just as a sort of perk, what happens is people essentially learn that if they're qualified for X, then they're put into the next bucket. You may also be qualified. Oh, look, there you are. So as far as a draw for people, you're correct, but who doesn't want some free money?
Also assistance with groceries if it's not.
Absolutely.
It's an added one.
That's part of
It's
it.
wellness.
Yeah, but I just feel like then we're like, I just don't wanna, I don't necessarily
But the
disagree.
Affordable Care Act.
Yeah,
like, that's
yeah,
the draw.
yeah, yeah.
Point.
I just don't, I don't wanna open the door to like all public service benefits, cause then we're like doing a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then just to add, I don't think this would be a vendor, maybe, but my friends that started Documented is a publication. It's now 5-6 years old, really focusing on immigration. And they have a WhatsApp that is extremely active and with 3 or 4 languages. So as far as marketing goes, to get this out to people that get their blast on a daily basis, I think that would be a really good thing. And I don't know if there's any money involved, but I think probably not.
Okay.
So I could reach out to
Yeah.
Nazim.
So any vendor that is already confirmed, if you can just send me the name, the service,
Yeah, I can reach out.
email and phone number.
Okay.
Because we will submit that to the office.
With WhatsApp groups, just be careful, because if this is just for CD6 residents. They might not.
There's that question.
Yeah.
So like targeting neighborhood associations, we know it's gonna be CD6 residents.
You have to be.
You're not
But when
suggesting that anybody can walk in to the,
I mean, I think everyone should walk in.
right, but
But
you're saying as far as the target only,
I mean,
you're
is this
targeting that
limited
group.
to CD6 residents?
No.
No. Okay.
You're not asking
So
people.
then it doesn't matter.
But we
Okay.
could just, I understand your point. You could say Community Board 6 residents. Join us.
I mean, if it's open
And
to
so
everyone.
it is, but
Maybe
but
the
you're
civic
you're
neighborhood
in
saying-
both.
I see.
but you don't want to, If your success metric is how many 200 people, you don't want to turn away.
Right,
anybody.
right. I take that back. I thought this was limited to CV6 residents. so-
That's kind of hard to police.
I know, but when I was thinking about the WhatsApp group, I was like, that's outside.
I gotcha.
This is citywide thing.
It's like, I'm from across the street, can I still come in? I'm-
Yes, please.
We're
CV5
expecting,
years ago.
we're expecting 200 and 500 gone. What do we do?
That's always a good
I
problem
think
to
the
have.
vendors will be so
That'd be a good
excited.
problem.
That's a good problem to have. You have people waiting in line. or-
There they are, and when you let go, you lock the door, that's.
All right, so giveaway. So I've requested, I think 100, water bottles, 100
Ellie, do you
bag.
want- For the vendors though, like, do you want more recommendations? Do you want us to just like send out emails ourselves, or I thought we were doing a list of who to invite? Or are you just gonna ask Brendan to do that? I'm confused. Are we not brainstorming?
These vendors, they're already confirmed.
But we have to invite, what, like 12 more?
If you have any suggestions that you can invite, we can add, once it's confirmed, just provide me the name, the service,
Okay,
email and phone number.
but how are we gonna know that we've reached the max and stuff? I thought we were gonna brainstorm that
No,
right now.
You, no, send to me, the
Okay,
ones confirmed, and I'm gonna see if we have already like 18, I'm gonna send it to Brenda.
since I'm new, I would want to first run the names by you all before
Yeah,
just
should be
sending out.
great.
I also, and then there's also the like duplicating efforts, if like
that's what I
multiple
was worried
people.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I need to screen.
So we shouldn't confirm then with the organizations. I think this should be like an internal thing where we go down the list. So I'm not reaching out to one organization that offers free mammograms and Kevin's reaching out to another one, or we're reaching out to the same one separately, like
Right.
we need.
Or is it
know
okay to have
where-
two places that have free mammograms?
Right, right, and a truck outside, you know, I don't think it's a good idea for us to just send emails out and confirm, and then,
No, you're not
And
gonna
then tell
send, you
you.
will need to identify.
that's what I've been
vendor?
asking,
Identify a vendor
Okay.
and then send it to me.
okay,
I
But I
will
think-
see if that, because if any duplication, I'm gonna say to you, oh, we have that already.
okay, so.
Sure.
I
Okay,
can
just send it to me.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
Somehow the group should probably know what's going on.
I agree, I
Yeah,
agree.
What?
I really think it's, the
Yeah.
group needs to know what's going
Oh,
on,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So then you need to get back to us, so we have some idea of
Once
what's on
I
our
have the
list.
list, I'm gonna send to everyone of here. Then I'm gonna send to the main outfit. Okay? Anything else? You have promotional that you were.
Well, I think
talking about?
we, you know, again, you try to get as many from the vendors. If you can have one swag bag, everybody throws something in. You could have a collective so people feel they're leaving with something instead of pecking. You could, I think we have to lean on the vendors to supply some
I
swag.
think they.
But it's
do.
always, I feel it's always best to have one bag to leave with, not
Yeah.
all sorts of.
I requested 100 bags, so,
100 bags that they would go around and then put swags from the different table in?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's better than every table giving away
I
bags.
also requested sanitizer
Clean the earth. Okay,
and a water bottle, a stainless water.
that requires setting up before it starts.
yeah. No, but as long as it's just one bag central and the other tables don't have to bring bags. It's just, sorry, I'm
But there are
environmentally
some-
conscious here.
Yeah, some vendors, they also have their promotional items.
That's why it's fine, but they don't need to bring bags. Just tell them, fill in the bags, bring more swag, non-bag swag.
Non-bag.
I'm gonna copyright that.
Yeah, so if we have a vendor
No, she
supply,
didn't say the name.
whatever Chomsky they have, that's, I think,
Yeah, that's
that's enough,
sufficient.
yeah, and then we can have, and you said you had 100 bags?
I requested 100, but that's for TV, coming from TV screening.
I have a question. Who's doing the flu shot? I see who's
DOH,
Okay, and do people need to, sit down for 15 minutes? I'm sure I'm getting COVID mixed up with flu. Is there
they know that.
so there have to be lots of chairs as well?
What they
Good
have, they have one table for flu shot,
And there'll be a bunch
one
of
table
chairs,
for
right?
TV screening. I already communicated with NYU that TV screening has to be in a corner because that requires privacy, especially drawing of blood. So they already know that.
I don't think you need to be monitored for flu.
I can't remember, that's why I'm so
Yeah.
stuck on COVID, that I can't, I just remember then I have to sit down, blah, blah, but I can't
The
remember.
COVID, you need to be there for 15 minutes to be monitored.
And the
This
flu
is
shot-
flu shot.
Not for TB either. Or, okay.
Was there any discussion about including an RSV shot? Is that?
No,
that's not in there?
that's the same as COVID. You have to pay for that. Anything else?
I'm just curious, what's the budget allocation for this? How much money do you have to
That is
go
a
around?
very good question. We paid NYU 500 something. 525.
I think so, but
They only charge
Jesus.
us half.
But you're talking about stainless steel water bottles and, you know,
That's
things.
free. That's coming from my bureau.
Nice. Yeah, store, man, free is key.
I hope.
Your taxes at work.
I just hope,
Thank you,
Don't, re-
thank you.
I just hope it's still 100 because we just had TV screening in what's this in Brooklyn, and some of our incentives were stolen. So I just hope it's still there. I'm gonna have to recount.
did you have money for like signage, like a huge sign that would maybe go outside the main entrance and maybe, like I said, the easel when you're just before the welcome door? Is this something,
Do we, the poster, how big can you develop?
the poster will be, do you want to put it on the cork board?
Yeah, like if we could get a big version of it, I mean.
Do we have to pay for the printing of that poster?
If we wanted on larger print.
That's why I
would
asked you,
assume
how
so,
big
yeah.
can you print a poster?
I mean, sure, I imagine we could scale it to. however
Like
big we want.
this?
Staples can go up to, I think 72 by,
That
Yeah.
is big, Jason?
in the same day.
Whatever we want, I can make it happen.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Same day.
yeah, I mean, the
Yes,
other
same
thing to
day.
keep in mind is I don't know what the place will allow or not allow. That's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
very
let
good
me-
point.
let
You
me
may go
ask
to the
that
trouble
question.
and they may have a policy.
Yes, they may.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
By the time they
Yeah,
find,
that's something to
figure it out,
ask.
we'll be good.
that's something to ask.
I didn't say that.
I'm not saying no,
No,
it's
no,
something to ask.
Before we,
But one thing I will say no to, well, I'm not saying no, but the city says no, is hanging those posters on electric poles and street signs. That is not allowed
That's not
with the
allowed.
city. So I will say that, as tempting as it might be to do that, to try and get people from the street, the city does not like that.
All right, so I'm gonna ask if we can hang a big poster.
Yeah,
Any other questions that you think we should ask NYU?
Is it easy to get from the entrance to this hall? Like, is it like a maze or will people need arrows and stuff? I know there's gonna be a few of us helping them, but like depending on
Yeah, how complex.
where we are.
That's
there's only
fine,
a
it's
few.
situation.
Yeah.
That's why I asked too.
Yeah.
I don't know how easy it is to
I've
throw
gotten
up
lost.
a rendering of the hallway. Is there something online that shows the layout of,
did I see the what?
Did you see the venue?
big ask, but I don't think there's
Is
some.
it easy to get find it?
Did you
or-
see the venue?
Jesus saw the venue. I was away when the venue was seen, so Jesus saw the venue. So that might-
been there.
What's that?
You know, you have skirtball, you go through the entrance,
Yeah.
and there is a bit of a turn, they have,
Yes.
you know, security and everyone. They do, but I've visited Dale director, but
Yeah,
And we
generally,
used to have a meeting, and them
basically
taking a
just
very
from
long
my
walk.
experience,
to
you
get
go in,
to,
you skirtball, you have to make a
550,
red,
and
and
you
then you
have
have
to
to go
way
down.
back, but you get a
And
second
then it's
building.
flat.
But it
That's
was,
where one-
I don't remember, this is a.
So-
pool.
So it's
I remember
it's
these were small,
pretty
but it's
close
quite
past the hallway, but
And
but
you need
it's-
air. Well,
you
I
need a
remember
couple
what
of
the
like
sign
at
is.
least turns, like so you probably need two
Yeah,
signs,
50,
one
the
in
new
front and then one
Yeah. So
in
we
that
need
hall that.
So it's-
And permission from Langone to be able to put those signs.
Langone might already say,
Remember.
hey, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Well, at least
Okay,
they
so let me ask,
At least
Edward.
I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so ask about signage and also about providing direction. Since it sounds like
Thanks for
they're,
direction.
I mean, it's not, it doesn't sound like a maze, but it sounds like direction is helpful.
Can you
All right, so,
point out where it might be on this? Because we could use.
what?
Nice.
Yeah,
So,
I think Jerry can handle this entire event on his own.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that was just a test to see how quickly you can bring up a rendering of the entire building.
You see what Marcus is over there? It's generally around here. I don't believe it's the one that's down the stairs.
no,
Because
no,
there's
that's
that,
not
so
the
it's
one.
on the main level. So basically this was the skirball entrance and then there's that turn to get to that orange part. That's where we're gonna have to be. So we're gonna be in this area. Which is like, because there's the reason why is because they have the front desk and then they have an outdoor courtyard that's enclosed in the glass. So we have to go around that to get to where the auditoriums are. Well, luckily, we're not going to the downstairs one, because that would be.
No, we're not because
Can I
of
just
that.
move
That's
this
a
one?
business.
Exactly.
We
Pathway.
used to have some of the housing meetings there.
Well, we used to do community board meetings, full board.
So we have to buy that?
I assume, I don't, it's been a long time since I can,
Do we ask Citizens to give us money for that or
Give
what?
us, give money
Then,
for,
then the hello name tag.
I can ask. I can ask. I mean, it should,
Can we get them to
There's only
Staples?
like 7 of us.
Yeah.
So like, you have them already?
I would need to check. I mean, I
yeah, it
haven't-
was.
I'm a little bit,
$8 for 100 pounds.
Yeah.
But who's a good
No, we only-
calligraphist? We don't need to.
We only need.
We don't need to like have them pre-printed, just really
But
nice
we'll have it for
handwriting.
the next 8,
Good Sharpie.
Fair.
Yeah.
Many fairs.
or no, this goes back to the office.
Okay, anything else? All right, so when. That's it?
I did want to bring, if you're finished with that, can I just bring this
Oh,
one?
yeah.
Thank you. So I think I spoke to the group last spring about this neighbor to neighbor, and then we renamed it Neighbor Connect anyhow. But you folks in as well, thank you. So, this is a proposal to develop within a building or within buildings, relationships between older folks and younger folks, particularly came during COVID and the lockdown. It was not good for a lot of people, but certainly older people living on their own and so on, it was really difficult. So, this would be a pilot that we would do, developing a way of hooking up people in their buildings with one another, and they could basically get to know each other, work together, not work together, but, you know, have a relationship. That would be a mutual one.
But also do things outside, like go for a walk
Yes,
to the
yes,
river and
Yeah.
if you're in Stuytown, let's say.
yes,
Um,
yeah.
And we've talked about this. They
Yeah.
had, Stuytown just started a
Oh, your
bench
benches.
situation, yeah. So they've designated certain benches in Cedar River Village,
Yeah.
Stuytown, as neighbor.
Maybe.
You do not sit here unless you want to meet a new person, and that's when you,
Yeah.
That's interesting.
yeah,
How's that
that's, I
work?
wish, yeah, I didn't articulate. There's a name for it, but it's, yeah.
Stuytown's great, like, I mean, Stuytown is amazing just because it's sort of the physicality is community.
yeah,
Tall buildings are not, right? They're really so isolating.
yeah. But anyways, it's a
Yeah.
meet a new face section of certain benches around,
Yeah.
and it works.
Cute.
And
Alright.
it's, yeah.
I had to, I mean.
It's gonna take a history about
So
that.
did we start that already?
Well, what I did was I have reached out to some of the government organizations. I think I mentioned last time, one, I got in touch with Carlina Rivera's office and they were great and they want to get involved in it. I reached out to a local synagogue. They do outreach like that within the synagogue community. So everybody's got their own definition of community. I thought of it as building-based community because it's sort of how we live then. So this would be a pilot that we would develop of how we may contact who, how do we keep it going? So what I'd like to do for what I'm raising right now is I'd like to get a small committee together to start to develop it. My inclination unfortunately is to turn it into a research project, because unfortunately that's how I think. And then I forget that it's got a goal of really developing these outreach or a way to have this cross-generational outreach. And people have given wonderful ideas that people I've spoken to. So I've kept all that data. I would love to have in this committee, people also reaching out. Synagogues, churches, they're doing it anyhow. And then we put it together and come up with what we'd like as an initial, project for us to then do as a pilot.
And I
see where it
think
goes.
Beam Living, which is a management company, not just for Stuytown, I think a lot of us know this, and Peter Cooper Village, but also Kips Bay Towers. So it's the same team that's doing services,
What is this called?
Beam Living,
BEAM?
BEM Living. So they're the services, the ones that provide the concerts and the Oval, things like that. So they're the ones to go to.
Yeah.
And they would be able, they have a really big footprint in Kips Bay and Stuytown,
Okay, so
and
that'd
they
be
could
good.
institute it. They have a very well-written newsletter. They get the word out on things. And I could see them being the first
Okay.
big group that takes the lead.
Well,
if they're
okay, no,
embracing
we
it.
don't, here's my thought. I'm not interested in doing it, getting somebody to do it for us like that, but we work it out and put it back in our own buildings, and then we have the model. And it's amazing to me, everybody's spoken to said, oh, that's a great idea, which I love, but aside from that,
Mhm.
it says that we have something really interesting to work on as a committee, or as a small committee. I don't need I think 3 or 4 people would be terrific. 1 or 2 people in the larger committee, the CB has spoken to me. But I want, I'd love to work with some people from this committee as well, but I don't want to turn it into somebody can do it for us. Because it's really
No,
about.
they would be
we need it in our own buildings.
They would trumpet the news. They would like to,
Yeah.
say that this is a wonderful program, makes them look good, but
Well, yeah,
but
right.
they would be a promotional partner.
Okay, someone's down the line, that sounds great, but I would first like to work with government agencies, work amongst ourselves and set it up. And then see what we're actually really want to do.
Okay.
So that would be, so if you're interested, get in touch with me. Yes, you all got the,
And you want to set up a first time, a time for a meeting. It doesn't have, obviously, the committee can be other members of the community, not
yeah,
just
they're
community board.
exactly right. No, well, members of the community board.
Yes, but
not
let's say there's
the-
other people in the community, that are not a community board that want to help out. You certainly would welcome them to be.
Sure, but right now, we're just we're just thinking it
The
through.
planning will be.
The- just the
planning
planning
is us,
stage,
right? We're
gotcha.
just at the planning stage. The more I hear, the more I, start going off on all these things, really interesting tangents of how to do it. But there's nothing set yet to get more.
Still in the
people
planning stage,
involved.
got
It's absolutely in the planning stage, and that's where.
Well, then we should set that first time. I'm not saying is it doesn't have to wait until December.
No,
We
it's
can
not.
have an offline
Well, I just want to have a
committee,
group, yeah.
subcommittee.
Yeah.
Well, just that, it doesn't have to be whatever, it's a few people who are really interested in getting involved in this. We already have the form and we have a name, or whichever name we pick, and then we could just, I guess we could meet here, or
So,
something, or wherever we
Yeah,
do it.
Sandra is taking the lead on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Project.
but you know, you have,
Whoever-
I think it's a great program and whatever you need on there.
All right, yeah,
Can just.
you just get in touch with me,
You get in touch
and I'm on
with
that list,
Sandra,
but,
and then in November, we can have some updates from
yeah,
that.
sure.
Just
absolutely.
one question on that, since it is going to be staying, sort of framed as a committee project.
Yeah.
What's the open meetings? That means every time we meet, we need to take notes and have a camera. That's always a gray area if you're taking a committee group that's meeting offline.
Have the meeting.
So I just want to tell you that we would want to follow the rules, but what are those guidelines?
How about informal chat, and we don't call it a committee? Because then you get into.
Well, I'm just saying.
You don't want to-
I would-
don't want to get into that. if we
Yeah,
can
well, that's why I
Yeah.
love the CB6's guidance on this.
Yeah, I mean, my initial thought is, if it's, if it's just like an informal chat
Yeah.
between committee members, that's one thing. If it's like supposed to be an official proceeding of the board, then it goes into a whole other realm. That's my initial.
No, it's actually, I think there's a thing, if you're preparing for agenda items, you're allowed to, because that's one area that you're allowed to talk offline. So really what we're doing, right, is preparing for an agenda item by planning, and I'm trying to help you.
I know. And I'm
Yeah.
along those lines. Well,
But
I
you're a
know-
lawyer, you know this.
No, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a psychologist.
Psychologist,
I'm
sorry.
meant to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
But, because I sound like a lawyer, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I would love to get, Carlene Rivera's overthought, there's these people who just, obviously, they want to sort of get into it too, so once we turn it into resolution stuff, it's like, oh, dear God, we had this great idea, how do we keep it, sort of pristine like that, rather than, I understand what you're saying, because I get it, that it's a structure. But you also want to keep the idea as something we're actually trying to develop that product with, as our goal. So
Okay,
it's not a resolution, it's really a product, is how I think of it.
sorry, I assumed you were an attorney. I thought somebody had told me that, so my mistake.
Probably because that's what my husband thinks too. And he doesn't mean it in a positive way, I can tell you that, but thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Sandra. So any old or new business? Nothing?
Mr. As a new member, I'm just curious from last month's stuff, was there any forward motion on the things like the defibrillators and Narcan?
That was already come.
Yeah, but. So it just sort of became a resolution. but-
Yeah, we just completed 2 resolutions. And the last.
Yeah, at June's meeting, I believe, I'm
June
checking,
and July.
well, no, not July, the board doesn't meet.
Oh, no, not July.
Um,
Our last meeting was in August.
no, there's, so.
Oh, no, we didn't meet the whole entire summer.
No, yeah, you didn't meet during
June,
the
that
summer,
was June.
but yeah, the defibrillator resolution passed, at June's full board meeting.
We've had a little update on that. This is something that, and we've talked about it as well. We need to get DOT to approve that we can get the automated defibrillator put there. So somebody needs to set up at a DOT meeting. I could do that on my own, but I want to, again, do things by the book. Do I go to Transportation Committee and request that I bring it up in a meeting, or I can? Again, this is St. Martin Park Conservancy, so I think I'll be fine. Hopefully just go to DOT on my own.
Yeah, it might also, if there's DOT involvement, it might also it might also be good to bring up with Brian as well, just for his awareness.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah. That way.
Because the way the resolution is written, it says at or near an SBS stop on the M15. That could be the park as well, and the park is going to be an easier lift to get the AED kiosk there, just saying. Not dealing with multiple agencies. So that's the other app. Well, I'm going to reach out to DOT.
Yeah, and also,
And
bring up with Brian. If nothing-
Brian.
If nothing else, because since DOT reports, or since there's a representative from DOT who reports at our monthly transportation committee meetings, that way Brian is not caught off guard if our.
Well,
DOT
yeah,
representative-
exactly. And then, so I'll let Brian, I'll just run it by Brian, see what he thinks.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to just go ahead and go directly to DOT.
Is it also parks issue?
What's that?
It's at St. Barton Park, right? So
Yes.
which parks also have to get involved?
No, it would be, there's 1 of 2 places we're talking. Either it would be across this, if it's say it's First Avenue, it would be at 35th Street, and First Avenue across the street. And we're very aware that some parts of the park are locked at night. This is 24/7 access. I think that's a huge important part of this
Yeah.
program. Jason, hopefully, we think we've talked about this.
Yeah.
So it would have to be, and there are places. So for example, 35th Street, between First and Second, 35th Street, and First, the entrance to the park. You have to walk a ways before you get to a gate. You would just be able to put it to the side. Easy.
And one last thing, we will be working with the youth and education when it comes to mental health issues. That was mentioned by Karen full board meeting. That's gonna be probably in November or early 2014, because we're not gonna have meeting in December. So our next meeting is in November. And that's it. For the year.
Would you like to have mental health representative in healthcare?
Coming from the OH.
No, I have a friend who started the JED Foundation, which is for young adults, college students, very much concerned with suicide and so forth.
That was just great.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Thank you so much, everyone, and we can use the government.